My musical tastes have been influenced by a number of artists over the years. All of them have had varying levels of coolness and timeliness, but one person in particular always seems to hit this sweet spot of timeliness and just being a rad dude. Dave Grohl, the best, or my favorite guitarist in the history of drummers. He's a he's a drumtarist. You could call him a drumtarist. You shouldn't call him a drumtarist. I wouldn't. No one should ever say that. Don't call him that. That would be weird. Anyway, who else has had the distinction of being in Nirvana and the Foo Fighters and Queens of the Stone Age and Them Crooked Vultures and Tenacious D? He played the devil once. That's radness only reserved for the likes of people like Tim Curry. He's Tim Curry level rad. But even with all those ticks on his radness resume, I'd submit that one of his most legendary acts of radness was the creation of his signature / collab guitar he did with Gibson back in 2007, the DG335. Now, they didn't make many of these, and they're like 10 grand if you found one. I mean, I found them for like $12,000. So we're going to try and build one. Sort of. We're going to try and build a tribute. So let's get started. Scott Stapp is right behind me, isn't he? You're watching Gearville. Okay, so the Scott Stapp situation has been taken care of. It happens once every, I'd say, 3 to 6 months, and there's always some pending litigation in a couple of different counties, in a couple of different states. Weirdly, not in Florida, which I think is strange. Anyway, we're talking about Dave Grohl today and the DG335 special tribute editions from Gibson, whatever they want to call it. They never call them signature guitars, which is kind of weird. It's like a signature series kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm not into get into the politics of signature guitars today. What we are going to talk about is what makes a DG335 cool and what makes it different than an ES-335 or a regular old Trini Lopez, which are all cool guitars in their own right. The real difference is the pickups are different. The tailpiece is different. It comes in Pelham Blue. That's the short story. So essentially, a DG335, the 2007 version, which we're going to be dealing with today, comes in Pelham Blue and black, I do believe, and has a burst bucker 1 and 2, as opposed to the later models that had a 2 and 3 and had a really cool gold color. And then it's got a stop bar tailpiece instead of the traditional sort of Trini Lopez tailpiece. Other than that, it also has the banjo style tuners, the Firebird kind of headstock, and the diamond cut F-holes. So what are we going to do to make a tribute version of that guitar? We're not going to make a straight up clone, so it's not going to be 1-to-1. I could have gone and gotten an Epiphone 335 or a regular Gibson 335. We could have done kind of a mid-priced type modification, but what I figured we would do is go with something a little more simple and almost make a DG335 Junior. That is why I grabbed one of these, the ES-339 Pro. It's sort of the little baby brother of the ES-335. It is in Pelham Blue, and it's actually very affordable at $499 US from Sweetwater. Shipped really great, even though it doesn't have a case, no damage. Your mileage may vary as far as that goes. And the fit and finish of this guitar is really commendable for a guitar that's $499. It's great. If this were my first guitar when I started playing, which it was not, unfortunately, it would have been a lot less frustrating because this thing plays really easily. The neck's nice. It's not too baseball batty, but it's got kind of a nice thick vintage feel to it. The tuning pegs are shockingly stable. These vintage tuners are holding their tune really well, and I haven't even had to do much nut work to it. Fret work is great. There's like no fret sprout, and everything feels really clean and smooth. I've really had to do very little to just play on this thing. The only things I really don't care for, the electronics are the problem with this guitar for me. The pickups are fine. They're really solid, honestly, for a guitar of this price point, but they're a little noisy. And the real issue is with the actual electronics. These knobs are kind of wobbly, and when you turn them down, especially on the volume knobs, they have this almost zero taper. So they start at 0 and then kind of one little notch up from 0 is like 8, and then all the way up to like 45 in terms of gain. I mean, not that crazy, but there is like a 0 to 100 feel when you turn them on. So that taper really stinks. But we're going to address that with our modifications, but that is coming. So first, let's take a listen to this guitar so you can get a baseline for where we're going to go with it. We're going to just play some chords clean and then put it in context with a track. So let's go check that out. So, as you can see or hear, this sounds pretty good. I'm not mad at it at all. It's essentially just this guitar straight into my AC30, straight into the aux box, and that is set up with a virtual cab that's the basic standard sort of AC30 sound. Nothing added to that other than just recording through a room mic. There's like a U87 Neumann, the SM57 Shure, and like a Royer 121. Sort of your standard studio recording setup for a really nice studio amp, which you get through the Universal Audio aux box, which is an amazing thing. If you can afford it, grab one. You probably didn't hear a lot of the noise floor in the mix because I tried to pull that out and give it as close as I could as a sound alike to what would be on kind of a mid-2000s Foo Fighters record or Queens of the Stone Age vibe. It's got that Dave Grohl sort of vibe. I know that wasn't his guitars. Don't at me. But let's talk about what we're going to do to this guy to make it feel a little bit more like a DG335 and see how much it improves the overall quality of the guitar. So the first thing we're going to change So, as you can hear, they're very different beasts. The second one is definitely a little punchier. The problem I'm having with these pickups, now full disclosure, I shot that stuff a little bit farther back because I wanted to spend some time, a couple weeks, I want to spend like a month with this guitar and really kind of live with it after the stuff that we did to it, just to see kind of how that responds. Just to time in my playing and kind of getting used to it. And, from the time we recorded that after playthrough, I really feel like this neck pickup is just extremely boomy and bassy. So really kind of the thing that I've had to learn is that, especially with these pickups, they're just sort of that vintage voice, and they're just real bassy on that low end is just boomy, boomy, boomy. The bridge pickup, not so bad. The neck pickup, it gets pretty overwhelming, especially in a mix. It just felt obliterated in the post version of that. Now, since then, like I said, I've learned that, I can really kind of find a sweet spot with the volume and tone controls and look for, really just the dynamics at which I play, because I'm a really hard player anyway, so that would be one explanation for it. All in all, though, I really enjoy the sound of it, and this thing is honestly a player, man. I mean, I definitely wouldn't throw it out of bed for eating crackers, but let's do a couple of little just regular cleanish tones and see how it stacks up to the first go around. So this is the bridge pickup. The middle. And the neck. So it sounds pretty good. I like it. I'm definitely learning. Like I said, I'm learning how to play with it. But yeah, this low end on this neck's just. Part of it is I have the AC30 a little bit hot. We're on the cool channel, but got a little bit hot. So that's not that bad. But man, it is just a... Dynamically, though, if I play it soft, of course, and, let's roll back volume and tone just a little bit. Watch what happens. It's definitely warmer and a little more reined in. It's still super bassy, but that's just sort of what I think you're going to get out of these Burst Bucker 1 and 2. It's especially in this body, I think with just the size of it maybe, and the way it's chambered compared to like the bigger DG335 style body. Maybe that's something to do with it. But honestly, all in all, this bridge pickup is just... Sounds really good. Honestly, I'm really thrilled with it. But a couple of quick points that we talk about what really we ended up doing to this guitar. The new tuning keys are doing wonders. There's no tuning stability problems at all, and honestly, didn't see a lot of them before I put them on. But definitely with them, it's been perfectly fine. No real tuning stability issues at all. Your general regular setup to the guitar, you know, I've made sure that everything's radiused and as intonated as it can be. I will say I'm not in love with the electronics, but I mean, they're not bad. They're definitely better than what it came with, and I think that's the most important thing here. We were trying to upgrade, trying to do a tribute to the DG335, kind of a, like I said, DG335 Junior, which would be the DG339, as we put up here on the headstock, which I just think is a cool little fun touch. I thought it would be a neat way to kind of cap off this first real build on the channel. I'm really enjoying everything except for this neck pickup. I think that's the best way to put it. I really like not having this pick guard here because honestly, these things look so much better without the pick guard. Just let the finish breathe a little bit. But the only real complaint I have about this body shape and this body size, more importantly, is it does not fit on your leg if you're sitting in a comfortable, normal position. So if I'm sitting sort of straight on, I could not get up into this region here, but you kind of have to sit it on your leg. So this thing's definitely more of a standing guitar, but that's fine. That's just kind of nitpicky little stuff. But I think the long and short is I think that we got something close to the vibes of what the DG335 is, you know, at least just from a spiritual standpoint. And that's all we were really going for. Just a spiritual sort of successor to the, or spiritual sibling rather, to the DG335. Definitely a lot less expensive. These things go for around $499. I think I spent probably around $400 upgrading it. You can, that number kind of varies because I was able to get these pickups used out of somebody else's 335. Barely used. They came right out of the 335. They barely played with them. They immediately put something else in there. So that was nice. Everything else is really just a lot of, like you saw, I had to put these American pots in there so they're imperial, not metric. And so all that stuff had to be replaced and changed and bored out a little bit. But really not that big of a deal. Really enjoyed this project. Hope to do more projects like this again in the future. So make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell so that you can get notified about any future weird things that we do here on Gearville. Other than that, I will see you guys next.
Incoming transmission.
Hang on.
Incoming transmission.
Just a second. Hello? Yeah? This is Chris. Scott Stapp's here. He's at my house. What about the restraining order? That doesn't go into effect until next week. Okay, great. All right, well, I guess I can deal with it for another week. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for letting me know. I'll take care of it. So, Scott Stapp's here. I thought that was taken care of. I guess it's not so much taken care of. I just heard a noise. I'll see you guys next week. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I gotta try. Oh, Scott, no. There's a call.